Joining us now on the line is Virginia Congressman Rob Wittman, who's going to be on the Republican team there. So, look, you've been to the practices. Are you guys ready? Can you take the Democrats in this all-important game?
Absolutely, Brian and Larry. We're ready to go. Had a great practice this morning. Just got off the practice field, and we were swinging the bats and feeling the ball well. So I feel good about our chances.
All right, now who's the real, besides you, of course, who's the real star on this?
Yeah, it's always been Ron Paul, right? He's always sort of the secret weapon for the Republicans.
That's right. You know, we've got a lot of good ball players here. I tell you, we've got, Rand Paul is playing now. Senator Rand Paul is on the team. We've got Ron DeSantis. Ron played college ball, so we've got a lot of great guys on the team.
All right, well, keep Louis Gohmert off the mound because I don't want to see any beanballs thrown at Linda Sanchez. That's not a good thing.
That would be ugly, yeah.
Louis always makes things interesting.
There's no doubt about that. Hey, there's so much other things going on right now that we just thought while we had you here, we got to tap into your knowledge, get your perspective on some of the things that happened. So much talk about this NSA leaker. Now, some people call him a leaker, some people call him a whistleblower. Which category do you put this guy Edward Snowden in, and what do you feel about that whole thing?
Well, I think he is clearly a leaker. He went to that job knowing exactly what his obligations were to protect that information. And regardless of how he felt personally about it, he has that obligation. He did not live up to that obligation, and that's a problem in our system. There are a lot of folks with security clearances, probably too many, and then when we can't keep information secure or tactics and strategies secure, that does hurt our country, regardless of how you feel about that particular program. And I have some concerns, obviously, about the Patriot Act, how far it reaches, the FISA courts, transparency, all those kinds of things. But I can tell you, Mr. Snowden had an obligation to follow the agreement that he signed, and he did not do that.
Can I just follow up with you? Because I'm seeing these surveys there. Fox News has a survey right now that says there's something like 63% of Americans right now don't trust government. And when you have this thing come out that, hey, millions of your phone records have been collected, maybe not looked at, millions of your emails are being collected. Oh, no, we need a warrant to look at them. But I think when you have 63% of Americans saying they don't trust government, and this happens, it probably doesn't feel right to a lot of people what's going on with this program.
Brian and Larry, I agree. Fundamentally, you look at it and you say, well, why do they need to get that information, and for what purpose? And I think when you ask people if there's a purpose for national security to get that information, should the government be able to get it, I think most people answer yes. I agree with you, though. It's fundamentally about trust, and that is, if we give that permission, is the government going to use that permission properly? Are they going to make sure that they don't overstep the bounds of national security? For liberties and freedoms, our liberties and freedoms in the interest of national security, there is a balance there. My concern is just to make sure that there is always transparency there, that there's always a balance to make sure that we aren't giving up those fundamental liberties and freedoms that this country has been based on for questionable national security issues. So that's the key about this whole debate, and that is, how do we make sure we protect this country, but at the same time don't overreach, and it does cut right to people's trust in government.
Representative Rob Wittman is our guest. He's a Republican, represents the 1st District of Virginia. And, Arlington National Cemetery is probably America's most hallowed ground. It's such an important and vital part of our area here. And you're saying that because of some of the scandals that we've seen at Arlington National Cemetery, we need to have a change of leadership. What is your plan here, and are you going to be able to put this through as legislation in this current session?
Well, I hope so. I'll be going to the floor hopefully today with an amendment to require that a uniformed officer be in charge of Arlington. Previously, it has been a civilian. And as we've seen in the past with the gross mismanagement there, the mishandling of remains, the terrible, terrible things that went on there, nobody's been held accountable. Nobody probably will be held accountable. Those individuals retired. There's nothing that can be done to go after them. The Department of Justice is looking at it from a criminal standpoint, but they've done nothing. If we had a uniformed officer there, they would be held responsible under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which is a much higher standard than the current system for federal employees, or even the current system of laws. I want to make sure that whoever is there is held accountable for seeing over the remains of our heroes.
Well, and also, I got to tell you, who better to look over our heroic war dead than a uniformed officer? I'm actually surprised that it has been a civilian in charge of Arlington.
I couldn't agree more. How applicable would it be to have, like I said, a person in uniform watching over our heroes, heroes that are at their final resting place? All of them, have served this nation nobly.
All right, so I want to ask you this other thing about camouflage. I mean, all of our men and women in uniform have camo that they wear, and when they do so, we found out the other day that there's some 10 different types of camo.
And it's different from one service to the other.
Every service has their own version of it. And isn't camo?
Well, I tell you, you have to look at the purpose behind it, and I think we can narrow it down from 10 patterns. We went previous to 9/11 with 2 patterns of camouflage in the entire armed forces to now 10 patterns, and it's just gotten beyond management, I think. And if you look at the cost associated with it, that is significant. Now, I want to make sure each of the services have the uniqueness of their uniform. The 8-point hat from the Marine Corps, the design of the uniform, but the camouflage pattern, I think, we can narrow those down. If there's something specific a service branch needs, this amendment that's in the National Defense Authorization Act gives that service branch the flexibility to ask the Secretary of Defense to say, hey, we need a special pattern or special operators. But 10, I think, is too many.
All right. Thank you, Rob Wittman, Republican from the 1st District of Virginia. Thank you. Good luck at the game tonight. I'll see you at the field.
Sounds great, Brian and Larry. Thank you all so much. Look forward to seeing you there, weather permitting.
Once again, Congressional baseball games.